Hello, welcome back. This is Charlie at My Messy Fingers. I'm working on the next signature for our album that is featuring Graphic 45's Autumn Greetings. And before I get any farther, I do want to give a huge shout out to Scrap and Create. That online store sent me this bundled collection. So you would get the 8x8 core, the 12x12 core, the 12x12 patterns and solids. You would get the sticker sheet, you get all the chipboard pieces, you get the ephemera, the ribbon, some little brass goodies, and you will also get some rub-ons. So I would encourage you to head on over to their website and get the bundled collection before it's all gone, because this is going to be a cute, popular collection. I'm really enjoying playing with it. And I've got some patterns in here that I absolutely adore, like this one. I would love to have this as wallpaper in my craft room. That is so warm and so inviting. But anyways, digressing here. Let us get right to it. So this is for your left inside panel. And your base piece is going to measure at 7 5/8. And it's going to measure at 7 7/8. Now I'm going to build from the bottom up. So we're going to start with our pocket, which is going to be about 2 1/8. You can cut it down to 2 if you want, or take it up to 2 1/4, whichever is your preference. And it will be by the length of your base page. So let me see what I'm putting together here for you. There are just some lovely, lovely patterns in this collection. And I love the beautiful baby animals that were incorporated in with this. It just makes it such a sweet bundled paper to play with. Okay, so I'm going to do the best I can. I am moving in between the 8x8, the 12x12 core, and the 12x12 pattern. I'm going to do my best to let you know what I'm playing with. I do create these ahead of time, so then by the time I come back to them, I forget. So I'm just letting you know ahead of time. And so I'm going to peel that off. And I just love the ephemera in this packet. As you noticed, I played with quite a bit of it on the front of the album. Now this is out of this piece is out of the 8x8. And I'm using the gridded pattern on the back. And if I didn't already tell you, I am using aged mahogany out of the Tim Holtz Distress Ink collection. And I've inked all of my edges. It pulls the warmth of the burgundy out of the collection on several of the papers. And these pieces are just cut to fit. I like to see about 1/16 of an edge, no more than an 1/8 when I trim. I don't want the cardstock to be the eye catcher. Now this is a piece of scrap, and because it's solid on the back, this came out of the 12x12 solids. And I'm just going to run this band down the middle here just to kind of break up the plaid just a bit. Let me move this, see if I can move this. There we go. And then I took one of the ephemera flowers. I've inked the edges, as you can tell, on the back side. And I'm just going to center it right here. These are so delicate. I don't know that there's really any wrong way or right way, but I like the leaves going up on this, so that's what I'm going to do. All right, now my first flap, and they're going to be two of them, they're going to be the same size. They're going to measure 4 3/8 by 7 5/8, and you're going to do a 1/2 inch score. Oh, where'd that come from? Okay. I haven't played with this ink pad for a while, so I had to use some ink refresh because I didn't feel I was pulling up ink off of the pad. And then I went to go add some fresh ink to it. It didn't take it very well. So I don't know. So I'm getting burgundy ink everywhere. Okay, so we're going to lay the next panel. They should come together. If they don't and you're off by a fraction, no big deal. By the time you get to putting pictures and memorabilia in them, nobody is going to pay that close of attention to a fraction of an inch. If they do, well, hooray for them. Anyways. All right, so on the inside here, I am using the green. These are coming out of the 12 by 12 patterns. Now this piece over here is cut in an opposite direction because of the way I trimmed. But I'm going to put a belly band over here so it will help break up the pattern so that maybe somebody's not going to notice it. It's going to be more visible than 1/8 of an inch. And again, I've inked my edges, so I'm going to put my bands on first. And they are a bit snug. Maybe if I fold these the other way, they won't be so snug. I'd rather have them a bit snug than too loose, because I don't like things falling out of them. But I think I'm going to move my score line over just a fraction of an inch. So I scored these at a 1/2 inch. They are 4 3/4 in length by 1 1/2 inches tall. And then there was a 1/2 inch score. But I am moving that 1/2 inch score line over a fraction of an inch so that this will be still tight, but it's not causing the center of the paper to buckle. So let me see here. So I'm 7 7/8, so 7 3/4, 3 1/2. So I want to be about midway here. And that should just about do it. I'm not that big a perfectionist unless it's something that has to be perfect. Okay, so then these are going to sit right in here. Now you will get a little bit of a push because this is going to come right up to that score line. So you're going to probably want to cut your paper shorter across the width to allow this to rest in there. Now I pulled out of my scraps. This is out of the 8x8. I can tell by the size of the leaves. And I've cut a piece that's just going to fit just in the center. I've got a fraction of an inch on all the sides. Oh, I think I've got that on crooked. Gosh darn it. I do. Oh well. And then I took one of the stickers and I am just going to mount it right here in the center. All right, let's see if I can do a better job over here. Now where's my, there it is. I'm probably going to have to do the same here. No, this one's okay. All right, I want to make sure that that's on there straight and not crooked. Okay. I think I have it up just a little bit farther than I want it to, so I'm going to pull this, while the glue's still wet, I'm going to pull this down just a little bit. Okay, that looks a little bit better to me. And then the same thing, I cut another piece. I do not like how crooked that looks. Gosh. Oh well. It is what it is. Somebody else is probably not going to notice it, but I notice it because I made it. And then we're going to put this little guy over here. So now we got a couple of belly bands. We've got our pocket. And then I'm going to see, I can already feel the push back because of the belly bands on both these sides. All right, now the outer flaps. Oh, I don't know where that piece came from. Now, I did use a scalloped die that I have. You don't have to use a die. You can just leave the papers as they are, just like this. Or you can use a punch. You can use your own die. Now, this is out of the 12x12 core. Lovely, lovely colors. I'm not going to do anything with this side, simply because I think it would be, leaving it alone will just make a beautiful background for some photos. All right, now your right side piece is going to measure 7.5 inches across, 7 7/8 in height. There is a 1/2 inch score and a 5/8 score. So 1/2 inch and then 5/8 on the score. And then the scallop I used was just over 1/2 inch. It's about almost 5/8 of an inch, but I'm trimming it down, or I'm covering it up a good 1/4 of it up so that the paper will come right to the edge, such as so. So let's go ahead and we're going to get these in here. Now I want that gusset sitting up on the top. So I'm going to bring this right up to that 1/2 inch score mark and then lay the paper over. Then I'm going to push back and then I'm going to re-burnish that score mark. Now, this piece measures 5 7/8, not counting this, 5 7/8 across, 7 7/8, and again we have a 1/2 inch score and then a 5/8 of an inch score. Now I made this kind of thick. I don't know if the basic gray magnets, to be honest, I don't know that they're going to keep this closed. So before I set anything else, I don't hear the big click I want to hear. So I am going to use some I think that's going to be better. Yes, I can tell by when I pull this apart. I love basic gray. They are an excellent magnet, but having said that, I use really thick cardstock, so sometimes when I do my build-ups, I don't get that snap that I wanted, and generally speaking, my basic gray would be on this side, and then it would be here, but this panel I did not cut wide enough to put the other magnet here, so I had to go through to the back side. So when that happens, I go to some backup magnets that I have that are a little bit stronger, so I'll kind of mix and match them a little bit so that I get my coverage. And you're going to think, well, why did she set that so low? That's because I am doing a split on this page, and I did not want that magnet to be showing right smack dab in the middle. I wanted just a little bit of a break in the paper, and I wanted to use 2 different types of paper. Okay, so I left, by time you cut this, orange, if you're using orange cardstock, I may have to trim this down some more. I think I do. I'm not even trimmed correctly. I want to leave about 1/16 of an edge in between see if this this is gonna look a little bit better. Okay, so see, I want a little bit of an edge up there at the top. And I want a little bit of an edge here at the bottom. And then I wanted a little bit of orange in between. So this piece on mine, I don't know what it would be on yours, but these came in at 5 1/4 by 3 7/8. So that'll just give you some kind of a guide when you go to cut yours. And they're going to be the same measurements. So I'm going to glue the top one. But then I'm going to tape the bottom one, because if I have to get in there to readjust those magnets, the way they sit, I want to be able to get in there. And then this one I'm going to tape in. Perfect. What is that? Interesting. Okay, so I'm mindful of my gusset and my SCOR lines over here on my right hand. Well, all right. So now you've got some really decent photo mats. And what I did was I went to the sticker sheet and I took out a couple of the round stickers, and then I used a 3/4 inch punch. I placed them on cardstock and then used a 3/4 inch punch. And I ran 1/8 of a strip of tape across the top. So when you go to put a photo in, that you have a nice little tuck on both of these. Now this side, okay, we're done. Whoops, nope, this side. And then we're going to do the same thing over here. But I'm going to have to erase this so I don't see it through the... And make sure I've got a good... Okay, looks good. So I will glue this in. Mindful of the SCOR by my left hand. And I'm pulling the paper up right along this edge where my scallop is, so that the edge of the paper is at the same width as this lip right here. I don't want that lip standing out. There we go. So So now up here, there's you in the 8x8s, you've got these beautiful little cutouts that have got some lines on them so that you can go in and do some journaling with some dates, places, people. So I'm going to glue that in here, right here on this side. I'm going to glue it on the back side. And I'm just going to put it in an off canter just so that there's a little bit of character there. Okay. Now we're going to work on these pages. So this was an 8x8. And I'm going to use the pumpkins here on this side, and then I turned it over, and I'm going to use the checkered over here on this side. And then I took one of the chipboard frames and I put some acetate on the back side of this, and I'm going to I'm going to tape down half of this so that you have the ability to come in behind it with a photo, and then all you have to do is tack down this corner right here. Just doing the left side and the bottom. Oh, I need to put this down first. Sometimes I get so scatterbrained. And again, I want to hide this seam. So I'm just going to come right over it with the designer paper. Now I can put this down. Okay, make sure I've got it right side up. All right, so like I said, you'll be able to come in here from this side, put it down, and then just tack down that corner. It'll hold your photo in there. Now, I also took the chipboard greetings. It says Autumn Greetings. I just had I'm trying to decide now if I want to put it here or here, because I kept playing around with it earlier. I think I'm going to put it down here. Now, this is a rub-on, and I went ahead and put it on early because sometimes it takes a little bit to rub them on, and I didn't want to waste your camera time having you watch me put on a small rub-on. Now, you can put that on if you want. If you don't have the rub-ons, no big deal. It's just a little accent. Now, in the center, I am putting a small piece of the cardstock. I'm going to turn it over there because there's a bunch of, well, I guess I've got ink on both ends. Well, told you I got it everywhere. And then I cut from my scraps. a little piece here. And I want just a little bit of the paper to show on the edges, so I just cut it just short. And then out of the chipboard, I have this piece that says, "Autumn is a gentle reminder that change can be beautiful." And it's just going to sit right there. So then when this is closed, you can see this. So I'm going to go ahead and at this stage of the game, we don't really have a lot of scraps that we can choose from. Oh, goodness sakes, Charlie. Anyway, as I was saying, you don't have a lot of scraps to choose from right now, so make do with what you have. Your scrap pile will grow as we get deeper into the album. And then you can personalize it by changing up the colors, the patterns. I do like to play with my scraps. And then we'll glue this down. Okay, let's go ahead and let's get some tape on the back side of this so we can get it in the album. And I did want to show you a couple of changes to the outside of the album that I made. Okay. All right, so I went through, I found a piece of paper that I liked. I covered my gussets. This is a 1/2 inch. And then at the end of each page, as my guide to make sure I'm not encroaching on the gusset, I put in a 3/8 of an inch strip throughout the album. Now, the outside, here are my 2 corners that I did add. I was able to find the other one. But then on the back side, I went ahead and added this little element. I thought it helped finish and complete it up. And maybe you already did that. Okay, so let's... Well... Okay, so right side up, right side up. I am bringing this gusset right up to this edge, and I am mindful of where I'm at here on both of these. And then I'm going to get in here and start removing tape. And as I have stated in the past, I don't like taking all the tape off all at once. because if I have a mishap in placement, I've got to use a lot of undo to fix it. So I only take off the centers and then I work around. All right. Let's give it a good old burnish. And there you have it. We've got the belly bands. I'll cut some cards to put in there. And then you've got your two photo mats. You have a smaller photo mat here. And there's the front of the album. So, front of the album. Front of the... Oh my goodness, I think I've been crooked this whole time. I just stood up to see this. My apologies. Ugh. Okay, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.